Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 4 of the tutorial series. We are going to talk about certain more aspects of army micromanagement. If you are a newbie or an inter player, you will definitely be finding something new in this tutorial. If you are an advanced player, let's hope you also will find something new. So let's start. The timing of the attack is one of those things that distinguishes a pro from an inter player. Here I see that I have the age advantage while Dussel's just aged, so I'm not going to give him any time to upgrade his units. I'll go and attack right now. If I had waited another minute, Dussel's would have upgraded his units and it may have been difficult or even impossible for me to take his city. So you want to attack your opponent at that very moment when either you are stronger than him or he is suddenly weak. Another good example would be this game. Here Mouse is Romans and I am Iroquois. You can see Mouse is nowhere close to aging while I am close to aging. I had a really good start. I even raided Mouse in the beginning. However, Mouse knows that Romans are the strongest in age 3 and age 4. He probably also knows that I'm going to age very soon, so he gives it all and he times attacks such that even if I age, I'm not going to be at a particularly advantage. I try my best to get a castle before I even use decoys, but it's not going to work out because Mouse has a way bigger army. He has gone all in this age. Here this is a 1 versus 1, a cooperative 1 versus 1, where Prolase and I are against Cage and Sermon. You can see that we are nowhere close to Enlightenment age against the yellow team who are almost at Enlightenment age. However, we have the element of the army power. We know that those guys are booming too much because they have never raided us. We also know that they probably have a 250 economy. So we go all in on this attack, and we are hoping that if we take this city, then we can close the gap. And attacking at the right point does work out for us because you can see the library. Yellow team is almost ready for enlightenment. Actually, they have the knowledge for enlightenment age. It's just that they used all their food for defending the city and ended up in the situation where they are. So had we waited on the attack, had we thought that, oh, let's go and attack in enlightenment age, we would have lost this game for sure. It's important to read your opponent, see what he's up to, what he's trying to do, and then act accordingly. Spies are more important than you probably think, because with spies you can convert your enemy unit to yours, and that's a big leverage. Noobs either don't use spies or they use spies very poorly. A poor way to use a spy is to ask your spy to bribe a unit when the opponent is not directly in the battle with you. For example, if Red Bull were to send this spy and try to bribe one of Sermon's unit, remember Sermon does have Explorer right now, but even if he didn't, if Red Bull spies one of Sermon's unit right now, it wouldn't make much sense because while Sermon would lose a unit, but that would alert Sermon that Red Bull is going to use spies, so he's going to be more careful, and nothing's going to be lost at this point by losing a unit for Sermon. However, if Red Bull bribes Sermon's unit while they are in battle, at that time it becomes too late to retreat, and Sermon will have to lose that unit to the spy unless of course he has a scout. And losing a unit in the middle of a battle can be game changing. That's what we're gonna see just now. These guys are directly into the battle, and here comes a bribe Sherman just takes out one of the heavy cavalries. Red Bull takes him out, and Sherman already had a dearth of heavy cavalry, and by losing one more heavy cavalry, now his army composition is unbalanced, and he ends up losing this battle. An amazing example of using spies to defend yourself is this game. You can see Sherman has got a way bigger army than I have, and he's got a technologically advanced army, so there's no way I can win this battle in a one-on-one fight. However, he does not have a scout, and I am going to exploit that fact. I use 4 of my spies to convert 4 of his army units to mine, and suddenly he loses 4 of his units, and that means he's no longer the one attacking me. Now I am the one attacking him, and I've got the numbers advantage. So this is one way how you can always use spies to turn battles around. And if you are someone like Sherman in this game, and you're getting spied, now the lesson for you is to get scout, which Sherman does get right after he sees my scouts. So always keep a scout in your army. At the same time, try to assassinate your opponent's scout and use that to your advantage. Bribe his units and make them yours. Then coming to this game, I'm being doubled by, actually I'm attacking Sherman, and but both Rip and Sherman are here defending it. I still refuse to retreat because I don't think I will be losing this battle. I have a technologically advanced army, and I also have graded units. However, he's got a spy, and just the presence of a single spy makes me retreat in this game. So you can easily see how important this is. With this spy, Sherman just delayed my attack, and sometimes this delay is all you need to win the game. Another thing to remember is that your spy's ability to bribe, as well as your general's all the abilities are affected by the upgrades in the castle. So the tactics, the operations, and the strategy upgrades, they all improve your general and spy's ability. For spies, they bribe units faster with each upgrade, and your generals, they usually have increased time of the ability, and they also have an increased radius. Talking about army management, if I don't talk about crossbows, then I'm doing an injustice to them. Crossbows are one of the strongest units you can make in medieval age, and they are amazing. Look at how Alan, who has nothing but crossbows, that's it. His army is only crossbows. He's using his crossbows to lure Mouse's army, which is huge, way bigger than what Alan has. Alan is using these crossbows to lure him back to his city and then shoot at the running units. Then he uses these crossbows to kill the siege unit. These crossbows can be used for defense as well as for offense, as you will see very soon. Now Mouse comes back with his own crossbows, and he's going to station these crossbows ahead so that he can take on the battle. If you're fighting a medieval age battle, and you would think that you won't be reaching gunpowder age anytime soon, you are going to have a long battle in medieval age, make sure you use crossbows because that's going to be very important in this game. A good example of using crossbows to defend is right here. You can see Alan is attacking the units, then garrisoning the crossbowmen back in, and then he is going to take them out from another side. This is very annoying for your opponent because these guys have got range. Also, they deal a lot of damage. So ideally, using his senator and his crossbowmen, Alan is doing a great job here. Next, and one of the most important component of your army, is going to be the siege unit, because without the siege there's no way you can take the opponent's city unless of course you are in classical age and you have heavy infantry. So the siege is going to be very important, and what you want to do is make sure you protect your siege. So right here, Red Bull is in his home territory sieging this tower from Sermon, and he is almost sure that he has it protected. There is no army station to it, there's just one light horse. So what Sermon does is, Sermon ambushes, and it's very ironic that Iroquois are getting ambushed because they are the ones who are supposed to have a lot of scouting units. And just when Red Bull is not expecting it, Sermon is going to take down the siege. So the lesson here is always to protect your siege, and because siege is expensive and it takes time to build. Right now, Red Bull didn't know what happened, and definitely he is regretting that. He puts another trebuchet for production, but imagine if he did not lose that, he could already be sieging one of Sermon's building. He has the army, it's just that he did not keep them outside when he should have. So now Red Bull is going to learn his lesson, and he will have his army protecting the siege. And this is what you should do. If you are the person sieging your enemy, then have your siege protected. If you are the enemy, then try to take the opponent's siege down so that he no longer is destroying your buildings or your city. Because yeah, if that can definitely delay his attack, and it can give you that additional time you need to age up or spam more army. Similarly here, I am trying to siege Surge's barracks while having my army in the front so that the siege can be protected. And this is usually a good way to make sure your siege is not the target of your opponent, and you can safely take out the building, whatever building you want to take out. In the end, you also want to build more sieges. I would say a 3 siege, if you have 3 siege units, that's a very safe amount of siege units. However, look what I'm doing here. I forget that I have my siege that's going right there, and I'm going to lose this. So things like these can greatly impact your game. Right now, we are almost evenly matched. Both of us are doing about the same. However, if I was in a condition where I had an all-in build, like I wanted to kill his city or I was dead, in such a case, losing that siege would have devastated me. I would have died right there. So you want to always protect your siege. Don't misclick. Try to protect your siege with your army, and have at least two sieges. I would say at least 2 sieges if you want to reduce your opponent's city. If you have 3 sieges, that's great. Now coming to the micromanagement, and most of your micromanagement in the army will be dependent on your cavalry, because they are fast and you can move them around while they're in the battle. So you can see right here we've got Red Bull's army, and Sermon doesn't have a lot there. However, when their armies clash, Sermon's first instinct is to go use his cavalry to attack the cannons. And first, Red Bull's first instinct is to go for this cavalry. So it usually starts with a cavalry to cavalry battle, and then Sermon runs away with his cavalry. He also wants to protect his archers, so he sends them directly to Red Bull's cavalry. But now he sees that he's being overpowered, so he runs back. So your cavalry are going to be very important in the battle, because they are the moving machines. They can run around whenever you want to, and they can run back when you want to. A good example of using your cavalry is in this video. Right here, you can see Red Bull and Boo are fighting. Boo has got his siege units, and he's trying to take out this woodcutter camp. Eventually he'll go for the city. Now Red Bull does not have his units upgraded, however he's got a lot of cavalry. The first thing he does is he runs for the siege unit that is not protected. And remember, by killing one of the siege units, he has reduced the siege power by half. So Boo does not have as much strength that he had, because now he's only going to destroy the buildings at half the rate, and eventually he realizes that he needs more siege, so he goes back. So you can use your cavalry in variety of ways. you can raid using your cavalry. You can target the weak units like the um, light infantry, which includes and the crossbowmen and the javelineers or the arquebusier type units. You can use them to raid. There's just too many ways to use your cavalry. Next, we are going to talk about the horse archer line, which includes these dragoons. Not a lot of players use these. However, if you can manage to use these, if you have the resources, then they can do a lot of damage. For example, right now I'm trying to assassinate his bowman, and just because my dragoons are outside, I am forcing Duzzles to keep his bowman inside, keep his senator inside. At the same time, these dragoons can attack while they're moving, which means I don't have to put them in a particular space. I'm also raiding his caravan while going at it, and then raiding his merchant. Later, when I'm done with the attack, I can even send these horse archers line like the dragoon on their separate raid. So they were a part of my army, and suddenly they just become raiding units which can deal collateral damage while I attack his main city. So if you have the resources, well, these are a great way to annoy your opponent and to assassinate his generals or the main government leader. Here I've got a lot of dragoons, and I am aiming them all of them at the monarch of Dave. And you can see Dave's monarch is almost dead. And a few more shots and it's going to die. And the point is, even though his army is receiving the armor, I am forcing him to not focus on his army micromanagement, but to focus on his. In this way, I can try to exploit his army being in a bad position while he controls the monarch. And if I get very lucky, I can even take out the monarch and leave his army without any bonus. And now coming to a very unique ability, not a lot of players use this. However, it can be very circumstantial, and believe me, if you're in a pro game, you will often find yourself in such a situation. Have you ever been in a situation where you are sieging down the city and you're ready to take it? However, your opponent has his army either entrenched behind the city, or they're just stand ground, they're protecting the city. Now in such case, there's something really cool. Your cannons can do splash damage, and let me show you how they work. So you're going to bring your cannons close to your city, and then you're going to use the bombard ground ability. Now just see how much damage it can do. If you can hit right in the center of the opponent's army, you can start taking out his units without even using your unit. And this is a really funny technique because it forces your opponent to remove his entrench and actually come ahead and try to stop you. So now, instead of being the defender, you become the defender. You are calling him towards you, and he has to run away. An amazing example of the bombard ground ability is right here. Surge is focusing his fire in the middle of his army, and yes, it is dealing a lot of damage. So let's see. Every time the cannon fires, there is a splash damage, and any unit that's around it is eventually going to die. This cannon fire, along with the real army, is enough to beat your opponent, especially when you have more than 2 cannons. This is quite an effective technique. talking about the rock advantage. These rocks, which are eventually going to turn into oil deposits, they provide 33% defense benefit to the light infantry, gunpowder infantry, and modern infantry according to the game. Let's see how an arquebusier, a single arquebusier, fares against a light cavalry on a rock versus without a rock on its way. A very close matchup, in fact. Whoa, look at that! The arquebusier actually kills an upgraded light cavalry on its own. Let's see if a light infantry, the arquebusier, can kill a light cavalry under normal circumstances. We just saw that with the rock bonus, a single arquebusier actually kills a single light cavalry. And well, yeah, that's it. You can see how much important this rock bonus is, that the arquebusier was able to kill it with the bonus but not without it. In fact, the light cavalry has about 33% of his health still remaining. This time let's rerun the same scenario with 5 light infantry versus 5 horses, and this time all the infantry are on the rocks. Let's see if this rock advantage stacks up when their numbers are increased. So far it seems like the light cavalry are doing great. So as you can see, the rock's advantage can be reduced by having increased number of cavalry. However, remember, in a real game you wouldn't have your light infantry just exposed like that. They will be protected by heavy infantry. Also, you will have your own cavalry. So I think this is a pretty good advantage if you can make use of it. One way to utilize this, it would be to create your city right before the rock or right after the rock, so that when your enemy is attacking, you have your infantry that are stationed right behind the city and they are on rocks, so they are harder to kill. But it's up to you how you want to use it. And I don't know if a lot of players use this voluntarily. Actually, in fact, I have never used this technique knowingly. However, I think now I should use it more often. To see the effect of the river advantage, we are going to find out how well these two arquebusiers do against each other. So there is one arquebusier that's on the river while the other arquebusier is on the regular ground, and you can see that the blue arquebusier wins with a considerable advantage, having 44, at least about 30% of his HP left. Upping numbers to 4 on each side, let's see how big this effect is when the numbers are increased. So I am not focus firing on anything. I've just left these arquebusiers to attack on each other on their own. So far 4 left here, 3 left here, and 2 left there. And it almost seems like the disadvantage of the river is a pretty big disadvantage. This is a clear testament why you should not be fighting on the river. And this also gives you an incentive to build your city right behind a river, so that when your opponent attacks your city, he is forced to cross the river in order to attack you. So thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope everybody who watched this learned something new. And like, follow and subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. What was it in the tutorial that you liked, and what was it that you did not. Thank you, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.